The Indian Civilization Fund Act of 1819 began the era of heavy American assimilation efforts through English schools for Native American children. In 1824, the federal government established a civilization fund for the purpose of providing against the further decline and final extinction of the Indian tribes adjoining the frontier settlements of the United States, and for introducing among them the habits and arts of civilization. The boarding school experience for Indian children began in 1860 at the first Indian boarding school on the Yakima Indian Reservation in the state of Washington. In the eyes of assimilationists, off-the-reservation boarding schools would be the best hope of changing Indian children into members of the white society, and this included not allowing them to use their tribal languages, only English.
She did not pass that down to me. She was told not to teach me Ute because it would interfere in my mastery of English, and which we found is not true at all. And so that has caused harm to me. It's affected me emotionally, physically, culturally. It's been very disruptive in my life.
The Native American Programs Act of 1974 is the authorizing legislation for the administration for Native Americans and is a department established in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. ANA believes language revitalization and continuation are two of the first steps taken in preserving and strengthening a community's culture. Use of native languages builds identity and encourages communities to move toward social unity and self-sufficiency. The American Indian Religious Freedom Act of 1978 became the policy of the United States to protect and preserve for American Indians their inherent right of freedom to believe, express, and exercise their traditional religions. This helped open the door for Native American culture to begin growing again and ultimately learn their languages. It was not until 1978, with the passing of the Indian Child Welfare Act, that Native American parents gained the legal right to deny their children's placement in off-reservation schools. The Native American Languages Act of 1990 declared that Native Americans were entitled to use their own languages. In 1992, Congress updated this act, adding a grant program to assist Native Americans in assuring the survival and continuing vitality of these native languages. The Chickasaw Language Revitalization Program began in 2007, and the Department of Chickasaw Language was founded in 2009. Chickasaws believed that the language was given to them by Chahoua, or God, and that it is an obligation to care for it, to learn it, to speak it, and to teach it to children. In 2015, the Chickasaw Nation partnered with renowned language experts Rosetta Stone to establish a contemporary educational tool for language learning. All Chickasaw tribal experts have free access to Rosetta Stone for the Chickasaw language, and it is available to non-tribal members for a fee. A youth-speaking Chickasaw language club meets once a month in Ada and Ardmore, Oklahoma. Students learn the Chickasaw language through total physical response activities and song. Students compete each year at the annual Oklahoma Native American Youth Language Fair. Chickasaw community language classes meet once a week, and each class is taught by a fluent speaker or fluent speaker with facilitator. East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma offers 4 course levels, and it is taught in the fall and the spring. The Chickasaw Basic app is the first of its kind to be developed by a tribe or nation. The app features hundreds of Chickasaw words, along with phrases, songs, and videos. With the introduction of Chickasaw TV, learning the Chickasaw language became more easily accessible. Chickasaw TV is a channel dedicated to learning the Chickasaw language through lessons, songs, games, and stories. Also, when an individual applies for a tribal membership card with the Chickasaw Nation, they are sent a welcome package, which includes flashcards for the language and books detailing the history of the Chickasaw people. Silo ISD and Sulphur ISD in southern Oklahoma are currently piloting 2 new Chickasaw curriculum programs into their high school level Oklahoma history course, which details Chickasaw history, and there is a language component which includes learning basic greetings, and students have access to flashcards for the language. The Chickasaw Nation also incorporates language lessons into the curriculum at their early childhood development centers across the nation. The Choctaw Nation School of Language was established to promote and preserve the language, history, and culture of the Choctaw people. At the present time, there are 18 language instructors. These language instructors have developed Choctaw Language Curriculum 1 through 3, which is taught at public schools and colleges. The Choctaw language classes are taught through the Distance Learning OneNet system to 31 public schools, 5 colleges, and carry a foreign language credit. The Choctaw language is also taught through distance learning to 14 different Head Start centers. Language classes are taught in the communities throughout the Choctaw Nation, and there are a few taught outside of the Choctaw Nation. The School of Choctaw Language has developed and published a definer, a history book, a social history book, 5 children's books, a Choctaw Christmas CD, and 2 traditional hymn CDs. Although this era of Native American persecution is over, its effects are still felt by tribal members. But there is hope for the future.